Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to go through some of the latest updates from Celsius, including an update here from Simon Dixon of Bank to the Future. If you don't know who he is, you're going to be introduced today in this video. He's got a bit of a recovery plan up his sleeve for Celsius Network that he is sharing with Alex Mashinsky. So a few details to go through in this video, but just a few hours ago, please find our latest note to the Celsius network community here. So that was 7 a.m. on June 20th here, which is today. So this is the note, brand new from Celsius. So this in response to the previous pausing of pretty much everything you can do on the app. No more withdrawals, swaps, or transfers. And they say it's been a week since this was first put forward. So we want our community to know that our objective continues to be stabilizing our liquidity and operations. This process will take time. So it's just a reiteration of last week's update pretty much. They used very similar language. We know that they're dealing with legal firms. So there's probably a little bit of legalese language in here. And I don't think they can say too much at this point. But the main pieces to this puzzle here, we plan to continue working with regulators and officials regarding the pause and our company's determination to find a resolution. So it sounds as if, they're working in the background, but they can't really say too much as to what recommendations have been made or what the next steps are forward here. So although there is an update here, it's going to leave people with a lot more questions, more so than answers. And down the bottom as well, there is a little bit of an update here. There's a load of Celsius fake accounts as well, so don't get scammed by those. But the update is not much of an update, but them just reiterating they're continuing to work towards their goals, the objectives being stabilizing liquidity and their operations. So that is it on the Celsius side here. But Simon Dixon has put forward a recovery plan, and hats off to this guy. Lost his father just a few days ago and is already, back to the grindstone here, trying to put forward a bit of, hope or relief here for the Celsius network community. Simon Dixon of Bank to the Future, that is his company. They've been operating for a long time here, a bit of an unsung hero in the crypto space, a very knowledgeable guy. Essentially, they own, or his company helped a lot of investors invest in Celsius Network in terms of some of the equity rounds previously. They're also big investors in like Kraken, Bitfinex, and a few other notable names in the space. Anyway, this is his take as to what's occurring right now with Celsius. He says he believes TradFi will push for a sale of assets and takeover bids of Celsius, but these are likely to be predatory, and it is unlikely to help other than remove some debt burden. So we want to support Celsius and Bank to the Future investors, and so he says he's here to help, and he's put forward a bit of a proposal. First and foremost, though, he's talking about the likes of Citibank here being called in, hired as an advisory role here to Celsius for potential refinancing options, etc. But Simon says, this is going to likely be very predatory and probably not going to be the best for shareholders or users of the platform, depositors, etc. So what is he putting forward here, and what's his kind of background to this? So this is the recovery plan that he's put forward here. I'll leave it down below. Check it out in your own time. But this is the first notable recovery plan that has been, publicly made aware to the community here. So he says that at Bank to the Future, his company, they have over 1,000 investors who own shares in Celsius Network. That is equity shares. They were involved in a previous, I think, 2 rounds maybe of equity raise for Celsius over the last couple of years. And their co-founder, CEO Simon Dixon, drafted a message here for both Celsius community and his investors at Bank to the Future regarding the recent suspension of withdrawals. So this is what he has to say here. So since 2011, he's seen Mt. Gox collapse the market, ICOs collapse the market, and now leverage collapse the market here in 2022. In each cycle, we innovate, or we find innovative solutions using new technologies. Celsius and their CEO, Alex Mashinsky, have been live every week sharing their journey and building a community. I hope we will find the right solution like our industry always has when financial innovation goes wrong. It's a bottom-up movement. I've always used bottom-up solutions to recover from disasters in our sector. So this is now touching on a previous disaster, which was that of Bitfinex, the Bitfinex hack back in 2016. He says this: as a Celsius shareholder, lender, and Bitcoin evangelist, and due to the short-term systemic impact on those that own Bitcoin, I'm keen to support Celsius with a recovery plan. As one of the first investors in Bitcoin companies, I have worked with many of them in their times of need. So back in 2016, Bitfinex needed a plan to recover from the hack, and the company he founded here, Bank to the Future, supported them and executed a recovery that involved security tokens, debt, and equity in Bitfinex, and gave investors a very high return for the high risk they took. So you're going to get a bit of an idea here as to the potential ways out here and what he's thinking of. Maybe a similar blueprint as to what happened with Bitfinex here, where a lot of depositors' funds were recovered. So if you want to check this out, there's a 4-minute video within this article that is down below. I would highly suggest giving it a bit of a listen to and seeing what you think around this potential plan forward. There's no specific details here from Simon. Of course, they'll be disclosing that with the Celsius team, potentially with lawyers, etc. But he continues on that he's committed to supporting Celsius in any way that is useful. They have built a community that believes in bottom up, and we have a platform and experienced team that can help Celsius bottom up. So as he says here, he's a depositor in Celsius and he's lent his crypto out through them. So if they do go down, he loses funds personally, and also it will impact Bank to the Future as well. But he says he's more concerned for community members that may have a chance at preserving a larger percentage of their wealth through a recovery plus an education in risk management to go along with it here. So this is his kind of layout here, suggesting like we've got a plan in place. We're going to share it with Celsius. These communications will be ongoing. But previously what happened with Bitfinex here, they had a bit of a successful resolution. So good to see that they've got experience in disaster recovery. And this is the only real, recovery plan that I've seen that makes any sense, and from someone notable in the industry who has the relevant experience as well. So he says, it's in my position to offer solutions as we have the experience, licenses and technology to do so. And our industry has come back stronger from every disaster. And now is the time for us to offer support in a bottom-up way in compliance with the regulations we have always followed. So hats off to Simon for putting in the hard graft here and having a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel potentially. So I expect this to play out over the coming weeks. We'll see what occurs with this, but at least you're seeing someone step up to the plate here. With the Bitfinex recovery plan, investors ended up with up to 16x on their shares at peak and another 4x in dividends after the recovery. They also ended up with tokens that got them entitlement to the recovered funds years later. But we have to act fast, as he suggests. If you look at Mt. Gox, users have never had their funds back. That was over 10 years ago now. And so a different approach to this, like the Bitfinex strategy within the video, is what he's implying for. So just to finish off here, over the last few minutes, someone called Ahmed online here just messaged to Simon Dixon, did Mashinsky respond to your plan? And he says, non-disclosure agreement, I am only able to share what I can when I can. But he is very vocal on Twitter here. So if you do want to keep up to date to the minute with this whole situation, give him a follow here over on Twitter as Simon Dixon seemingly is the man with the plan for the people. So let me know down below what you think potentially of this. Is this going to be a light at the end of the tunnel? Is it curtains? What's going to really go on here? We know that the Celsius update was, just a reiteration of the previous call to action, which is, we're going to be stabilizing liquidity and operations. Bear with, no real update from there. But we do have something a little bit more concrete from Simon here. So the situation develops. So a bit of a public service announcement in today's episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there. Goodbye.